this is a little demonstration of some of the things mentioned over the phone. One thing I'm going to start with is just opening up Pro Tools, having a little talk and look at the basic features of Pro Tools, and then import some audio files and try and see if we can line them up in a very basic form and make a few adjustments and go over some of the features that you can use to line stuff up and import. Okay, here goes. So let's start up Pro Tools first of all. Obviously this is version 11 Pro Tools. Ignore that. And right away it's asking me, what do I want? Well, I'm going to open up a blank session right here. Okay, click on blank session, open. It's asking me now, where do I want to put it? Well, I'm going to select a blank, a bit of space on my external drive, and I'm going to name it. All right, let's save it to there. And right away we have the edit window. This is the edit window that comes up. And if I want to switch to the mix window, well, that's available from the view, window, mix. Okay. So now I have both my mix window and my edit window displayed. This sidebar here is not important. This just shows me groups and tracks. Okay, I'm going to just close that window by going down the bottom here and just shutting that window down. Okay. A few features that we're going to be looking at is start with some of these edit features right here. I have slip mode and grid mode. Have a look at what they do in reality. We're going to probably ignore the rest of the two. Those are the two main ones we're probably going to look at. In fact, we're probably going to stick to mostly slip. The other ones we're going to look at is the tools, the three tools up here, the smart tool and the nudge tool. That's quite useful. I'll show you how to set that up. The timeline here is available, and that could be set up for pretty much whatever kind of ruler or timeline that you want. Time code, bars, beats, minutes, seconds, etc. And you just tick which one you want. The rest, well, tempo and all the rest of them perhaps are not that crucial right now. Okay, so I'm set up and just simply ready to import some audio files. And to do that, all I do is File. From the drop-down menu, you have a number of options. Audio is the one we want. And I need to locate where the files are. In this instance, it's a folder called Bob Stems. Okay, here are the files I'm going to look at. I'm not going to import all of them right now. I'm just going to choose a few of them. Now, I just click on them and I can audition them. Right down here I have a little audition window, and what I simply do, I hit play, and the little slider allows me to okay, that's supposedly the snare drum, and I'm going to click on something else. Let's have a look. Ooh, how about the kick right there? In fact, I need the kick and the snare. On the Mac, it's Command to select more than one track. I can't remember what it is on the PC. It may be Control to select more than one file. But I'm going to hold down the Command key and click on kick, snare, and perhaps hats, and maybe percussion as well. I think we'll go for percussion right there. Okay, right away we can see right there that it's actually loaded into this clip window, and I have a choice of what to do. I can add all, convert all. I would choose convert. Why? Well, that obviously converts them to the current sample rate in the session, which is 4824, and copies them to the right location. Using the add buttons, do not copy them. It leaves them wherever they are and perhaps end up losing track of them. So I would recommend using the convert button. Okay, so I'm just going to hit convert, and right away places them in that window, and I can remove them and all sorts. It's telling me basically that the current sample rate of each of these files is 44, and they'll be converted to 48. Nothing to really adjust there, just hit the done button. Right away it prompts me to tell me that I'm going to be placing these files in my current session, which is session number 5, into the appropriate audio files folder. That comes with that session. That's a good choice. Default, OK. Now it goes and processes all the files and imports them into the session. When it finishes this, it'll prompt me for a little decision where to put them, either on a track or in the clip list. Here we go. So right away it prompts me to tell me, well, do you want them on your tracks or do you want to place them on the clip list? Well, I'm going to place them in the clip list for the moment, and I'll show you where that is right now. Hit OK, and the clip list, if we go down to the right hand side here, is a little arrow, and that allows me to expand out like that. Yeah. And right away there I have my clips that I've just imported. So let's see what we can do. So if I just select one of these tracks, I'm going to start with the kick drum file first. All I need to do really is just click it, drag it, click, hold and drag, and just position them pretty much anywhere you want on the timeline. You can see the little red line hovering about there. I'm just going to place it right there, and there it is. If I want to port the other tracks as well, I can do so willy-nilly. Let's say I can import the snare. Again, the screen goes yellow, and now I'm going to import it, and it creates automatically a new track to place it on. At the same time, you can see in the mix window, each track gets its own mix window track, and so on. Okay, what else can we want? We can import the percussion, the hats. Let's try hats as well. And again, place them on the timeline, anywhere will do. And the same with percussion. There they are there. All right, let's see where they line up. I'm just going to expand these out a little bit just to see where they are. Before I do that, actually, well, let's come back to that. Let's close this window out. So here's my imported files. I have some zoom options located down the bottom here. Yeah, zoom out, or rather zoom in, zoom out. Okay, if I just right there, if I just, that's zoom in, that's zoom out. So I would probably go ahead and zoom in right here. There we go, nicely zoomed in, perhaps a little too much. And I can also zoom in the other direction as well by using these functions here. Plus, minus, plus, minus. Okay. Alright, so now that we imported them, we can actually move them about, edit them, do whatever you like with them. Some of the tools that will probably come in handy is these tools up here. As I said, we're going to use the slip mode. The slip mode simply allows me to move each file in a very freehand fashion, whereas grid fixes it to a very specific point on the grid, set by this window here. Okay, so slip mode is probably more appropriate for what we're going to be doing, as we don't have really any time reference, etc. All right, let's well, I'll tell you what, let's move it up to I think something around there. That will do for now, and we've got some very distinctive transients to work with. I know from fact with these two tracks here, they already come with some clicks to help us line them up. That's fairly easy. So let's do those first of all. I'm going to push this one somewhere to there, I think, and that'll be fine. And well, let's just see how well we can line these up. Oops. All right. The tools available to move these around are the trim tool, select tool, grab tool. At the moment you can see them, they're all highlighted together. That's because they're set with this very specific kind of a border which makes them into a smart tool. I can select them individually, or by clicking the top bar there, they now turn into a smart tool. What that means is, depending on where you place the cursor, they either turn into a grab tool below the line, a select tool above the line, yeah, a trim tool at the end of the bar, at the end of the region, or if we go up to the very top there, it becomes a fade tool. Click, hold, drag, fade tool. Okay. All right, so if I want to move this entire file, I need the grab tool, so I can grab it like that. If I need to want to select a specific area, I go above the line and do that. If, however, I want to apply a fade into this, I could just do that. Or if I want to trim the end here, I could just do that, and away I go. Okay? Right. So let's have a look and see if we can simply line these up. The other thing we're going to probably look at some stage is this nudge function. This nudge function works quite simply. If I select that, select the whole file, I can actually nudge this backwards and forwards by a predetermined amount. And this could be changed to whatever you like. For example, I got milliseconds, half a second, second. So let's try half a second for a moment. And to do this, I can use the shortcut keys on the numeric keypad. The numeric keypad has a plus and minus tool. It should be the same on a PC. And if I just press the minus key, it backs it off like so. Just retards it by backwards and forwards. And this allows me to be very specific and line it up whilst playing, for example. Let me demonstrate. I've selected this feature here, the particular region, and I'm going to audition it. Let's audition it, for example, no, I'll tell you what, let's select this one here. Okay, and I'm going to line it up to this, these fellows here. So I'm just solo that one and that one, so I can just hear those two tracks. And I'm going to select on the timeline, click, hold and drag a loop around those points there. Okay, let's hit play. So, just turn these down a bit. Better. So I just need to line these up. So I could try simply moving them about, not lining up really. Let's zoom in a bit more just so we can see what's going on. Yeah, I've got the bar over here, just move it back to where we want. Go over to the zoom right there. Okay, let's try using the nudge tool to do this. I'm going to select 10 milliseconds. Okay, now using the plus and minus key, I'm going to move this backwards and forward till I get them to line up. Okay, just move it a little tighter, move that a little bit there so we can actually hear the whole lot. Here we go. That didn't quite work as planned. Let's try that again. Grab it. Now I'm going to hit the play button and hit the minus key. I think that's it basically, isn't it? I go forward a bit, not right. If I go back, if I want to get a closer view, and I could zoom in even further, go down 1 millisecond. You see that moving. Let's go move back. There you go. So that's using the nudge tool, the plus and minus key on the numeric keypad. It allows you to move the cursors backward, the file, the region back and forth, so you can line it up whilst it's playing. Obviously there's other ways of doing this. You can use the grab tool, and let's say for example I want to use the red marker here and just hover my mouse right there, click hold, and I can move it backwards and forwards. Notice the red line at the top moves, let go, and there it's moved. So once again, grab it, move it, drop it. Now that's lined up. Let's have a listen. Okay, so that's lined up. Okay, that was fairly straightforward. Obviously these are percussion elements, so they should be fairly easy to actually line up. Let's just zoom back out. I think the next one we would probably want to do, I'm just going to make this a little more interesting by removing the end so we don't know where the actual start point is. We're going to have to work this out. Incidentally, just coming back to some of these tools at the top here, I have tools that allow me to zoom up here as well. By doing that, I can zoom the whole thing from there as well. I have other zoom functions. This zoom function here zooms the actual waveform. So if I go up like that, you notice the actual waveform gets much larger. It actually doesn't affect the sound. It's just a visual enhancer, if you wish. The other thing that would be really useful to know is the function of this particular button here, labeled Link Timeline and Edit Selection. Well, what does that mean? Well, on the timeline we have two sets of selectors. These two blue markers are the play selectors. You can see there I just select and that will play in that loop. I've also have these little blue markers, or orange markers, and I'm just going to zoom in on that. Yeah, you see them moving there. Okay, they're currently not linked. Why? Because the button is not selected. What that does is basically, if I show you an edit selection. Here's an play selection. If I go down here, I can now make an edit selection. Yeah, edit selection, play selection. Okay, play selection, edit selection. And you can see there's two different sets of markers. Now I can press this button here and that links them together. So now wherever I select my play, will automatically select my edit. Why is that useful? Well, it has its uses. I'm going to turn it off. Why? The reason I want to turn it off is because I want to select this entire region for editing, moving or whatever, and I want to loop separately. I want to loop around this particular piece of audio right here. Why? Because I want to line it up. I want to line it up with the start of the piece right here. Those are my count-ins. That's the beginning of the piece. So let's see how successful I'm doing this. So to do this, I'm going to just zoom in a little more, just so I can get it to hear it. I'm going to put into solo with the rest of the other ones. I have the 3 tracks all selected. All right, let's have a listen. Okay, let's just turn up that track here a bit and pull down those so I can hear them a bit better. Okay, it's an interesting giveaway there. Let's just zoom in so we can see what's going on. There we go. Just zoom in a bit more, zoom a bit more. Okay, let's just take this fellow here and move it around a bit. Okay, so now we've got it. Okay, perhaps these two might line up if I just move this along. Okay, maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong, I don't know. Let's have a listen to it again. I think that's the lineup. So I'm going to use the nudge tool now. I'm going to use the nudge tool, the plus and minus key on the numeric keypad to do this whilst it's playing. So here we go. Let's switch to a lower resolution, 100 mil. There we go. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty close. I know, 10 milliseconds. Back it up a bit. Back it up a bit more. That's about right, back there. Let's zoom in a bit more. That's about right, a bit more. Bit more. There you can see right there now, it's lined up. So again, you could do this with obviously with the grab tool, obviously like that. Move it around until you think it's done. In fact, you can even do all this playing. Grab it, make sure you locate it. Obviously a little more difficult to do that. I tend to find the nudge tool a little easier to do. That's lined up. If I move it out a bit, you can get the feeling what it is. Move it out a bit more. Way off. So that's the location of that. Good. Okay, that sounds about right. Let's see how accurate I was. Let's go out and redo this edit here. In fact, well, there you are. It's bang on the money. All right, let's have a look at this other file here. All right, let's move this about where I think it might be. I don't know. I'm just going to play around with this and see if it how close I can get. I don't know. I'm thinking about there myself. Let's just zoom in and see exactly where we are. All right, just zooming around here. I don't know if that's correct. Hazard a guess. Maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong. Let's get rid of the kick drum. I just want to listen to one of the, well, maybe the snare and hi-hat so I can line up the percussion track. I've still got my loop. Okay. Maybe I could go there and just see how far we are. Let's just move it out like that. Okay, here we go. And of course I need to solo it to get it to work with it. Okay, maybe that can do with a little going along. Think about there, maybe. Looks like about there, perhaps. Maybe it's there. Let's. Ooh. I'm going to guess there. Actually, that looks about right. Let's see if that's correct. Let's use the nudge tool. Now again, I'm going to use the nudge tool and set it to, well, 10 milliseconds should be enough. And all that does is just moves it backwards and forwards whilst it's playing, so I can audition it properly. So let's pick a section right up the top here. I'm going to just zoom around this little section right here and move it forward a bit more. No, that's not right at all. Okay, so that's using the nudge function back and forward like that. I think that's about right. Let's find out how accurate I was. Of course, these tracks were all recorded in sync, so there's no problem, and indeed they all seem to line up quite well. In fact, if I just place my marker there and zoom in a little bit more, oopsie daisy, wrong. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Ah, okay, not far. I could probably line them up a bit more by doing that, just move them about a bit. Maybe, whoops, grab the tool properly, the rename function. Rename, right, so right there. So indeed, they're all lined up perfectly now. Okay, obviously if the tracks weren't recorded in sync, you wouldn't be able to do that. We would have had to rely on having to listen to it and audition it and get them all to line up. Okay, the other thing we could probably look at whilst we're here is we got the rename function. We can rename each of these tracks by double clicking. Gives me a little pop-up, so I can rename this as kick track. Kick T1, for example. Okay, and this one, snare T2, for example. Hi-hat T2, and so on and so on and so on. So that's a really useful feature to have on there. Okay, we'll leave it at that for the moment.